On the 7th of December 1988, a devastating earthquake struck Armenia. The catastrophic earthquake killed 25,000 people, injured more than 100,000, and left 500,000 Armenians homeless. 20,000 people worked on the ground to support those affected by one of the worst earthquakes of the late 20th century. In response to the tragedy, Australian John D called upon some of the biggest names in British rock music to come together and record songs to raise funds for the people of Armenia. An all-star version of Deep Purple classic Smoke on the Water was recorded by artists including Bryan Adams, Ritchie Blackmore, Bruce Dickinson, Jeff Downes, Keith Emerson, Ian Gillan, David Gilmour, Tony Iommi, Alex Lifeson, Brian May, Paul Rogers, Chris Squire and Roger Taylor. That project was called Rockade Armenia.
The joy of it is it's a song that every single guitarist in the whole world knows. You know, so it was a nice thing for a guitarist to come together and do, and actually play together, because you don't get that many opportunities to interact with your peers in a way. We have connections in many ways with the song, because the song, I don't know if you know, but the song originally is about Montreux.
Yeah.
You know the history of it?
I know.
The casino which burned down.
Yeah.
And those guys from Deep Purple were there at the time, and the whole complex burned down. So they wrote this song about smoke on the water being the lake. And of course, that's the studio where we made a lot of our music, and Montreux became Freddie's home for quite a while, because it was such a peaceful environment. You could get away from everything, the press and so Montreux is a big part of our lives. So it was great for me to be involved, really, and I'm just happy that we could make a small difference. We know that we can't make a big difference, but the spirit was very much in England at the time that people wanted to help. So we kind of crystallized that feeling.
Why have you decided to take part in the project, and why have you chosen Smoke on the Water?
Well, first of all, I think everyone is becoming aware that the world is getting a much smaller place now, and I think that music is a very potent force, and we can perhaps reach into areas which it takes a little longer for the politicians and other people to reach. It's a tenuous link, but Smoke on the Water was a song which was born out of disaster and ended with great success, and I hope that we can find some parallel with this effort.
In the Soviet embassy, quite frankly, we don't have a very rich experience in meeting at the Soviet embassy rock stars. I would like to express our very deep thanks, very deep appreciation on behalf of all the Soviet people, and of course on behalf of the Armenians.
I've been trying to think what to say. I don't really know what to say in this situation. I do remember very clearly that day going to Spitak. I was doing a concert that night. I had to get up at the crack of dawn. It was about a 3-4 hour drive, wasn't it, John? Something like that. And we were taken around, and I got back to the gig about half an hour before we were going on stage, and the guy's saying, "What's it like?" And I went, but. And I just burst into tears in the dressing room. It was just impossible to explain the experiences. The things I saw will, as Sammy said, stay with me for the rest of my life. One of the things that did happen, the mayor of Spitak, they somehow found this, as they always do, as I found out throughout the whole of the Soviet Union, no matter what's going on, they'll somewhere find a table and bend the table with food and wine to look after you and entertain you. And apart from all the downside of things, the mayor said the one thing that's really bothering him now is that since the earthquake, at all the weddings that have taken place, there's been no music. Maybe the music should start again in Armenia.
Gillan and his friend Black Sabbath guitarist Tony Iommi decided to write and record a song to raise funds to build a music school for the children of Armenia. In July 2010, they assembled an all-star lineup at the iconic SARM studios and recorded in the same room Led Zeppelin made their seismic fourth album. Joining Iommi and Gillan in the studio was Iron Maiden's Nicko McBrain on drums, legendary Deep Purple keyboardist Jon Lord, and engineer-producer Mike Exeter. Bassist Jason Newsted recorded remotely, on the track they called Out of My Mind. This day was also one of the legendary Jon Lord's final ever recording sessions.
We went out to visit a school that was devastated by the earthquake. And after all these years, it's 20 years, it was still just a pile of corrugated iron, holes in the walls, and everyone trying their best, but you can't learn or play music in those conditions, particularly in the winter. And so the idea of building a school, a music school with a concert hall and all the facilities was born then.
How did you guys meet?
Oh, well, I think we met.
It was in a pub in Oxfordshire.
Yes, it was in a pub.
But it's a long story.
And we arranged to meet up in the Bear in Oxford. And Ian was flying in from Kuala Lumpur or something, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And Geezer and myself were driving from Birmingham to Oxford, and we met up at this pub in the Bear, and we got absolutely plastered. And we came out and we got a band. And he don't remember it.
I got a phone call from my manager the next morning, Phil Banfield, who said, Ian, if you're going to make career decisions, I suggest you give me a call first, and at least we talk it through. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, well, apparently yesterday you joined Black Sabbath. I said, well, that's all right. It should be fun anyway. And that was the craziest year I've ever had in my life. The longest party I've ever been to. About a year,
really
making the record and the
fun.
tour.
Yeah, well,
unbelievable.
And 2 American tours, and we had some great times. Probably the best laugh we've ever had, enjoyable.
Even being blown up, I enjoyed that too.
You're blown up.
Yeah, they got a bicycle pump and blew me up. No, it was dynamite actually.
Yeah, he used to stay in this, what, marquee or tent? Or
it was a tent.
Big tent.
And inside there was another tent. It was a tent within tent, which I called Ernest.
And we had this pyro that we used to have on stage. We had all this pyro left, so when he went to bed, we decided to put it round bury it round the tent. And they put too much in, to be honest, and let it off. And his tent just took off and it stood there. So it was like, we overdone it a bit. Plus, also, we were recording at the Manor, which was Richard Branson's place. And he had a carp, were they? Carp.
The big expensive ones.
Yeah, the expensive ones. And all the concussion from the bomb went through the lake, and all the fish can float, well, a lot of the fish can float into the top stunned or dead. So it really backfired, that joke.
Well, it's probably the most hard-rocking charity single ever. What
this is, yeah.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Well, this is actually written as a song. I mean, Tony's, a great writer, and it's actually a real song, and it's new, with our friends who just answered the phone immediately when we asked Jon and Nicko and Jason if they'd come on board, and it was brilliant. And it all started around at Tony's house. He said, here, I've got this idea. In fact, he had loads of ideas, a sackload of them, and it's got good. It was born out of that flight home from Yerevan, so it has its own integrity. It's about how things stay in your mind and how we had this between our teeth and it never went away, and the job wasn't finished, so now we're going to get it done.
Sounds good back here.
Nice to
be back in this room again.
Oh! I know, it's 2 albums here, isn't it?
Only one.
Was it? Oh, it was, just Down to Death.
No, Matter of Life and Death.
Matter of Life and Death.
Right.
Gyumri.
Yes, you see? Don't start with me. Too early in the day.
This is his space liftoff.
This is the Final Frontier, sorry.
Awesome.
He gave Eddie a good doing on the last tour. Natasha, our wardrobe girl, she puts a different out. Every tour there's a different outfit. And actually, when we recorded the album, we were in the Bahamas, and he was a Rastafari suite and a big spliff in his hand.
How are you? Very well indeed. Yes. He's got back from somewhere, I believe.
I have.
Here's your piece.
Nothing particularly exotic.
You're looking well, sir.
I feel all right. Yeah,
Cool.
Not bad for an old
Well,
one.
come through.
I will.
Well, I'm going to go and grab me a cup of tea.
Yes,
see? He's outside.
Oh, he's arrived, is he?
He's outside, yes.
You know?
Hello.
This is Ara from the Rockade.
I'm from Armenia.
Nice to meet you. Hello. Tony, my dear John.
John.
I'm bloody great, mate.
Dear boy.
It's me, I'll go to the
Oh, looking great, as always. How are you?
Go to the foot of our stairs. I haven't seen you since...
Germany.
Well, no, wasn't it Munich Airport? Sorry, Miami Airport.
That's right. We did see each other, yes, in the airport.
Yeah.
Got still a long time ago. Ron.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
So,
Yeah. Good.
is it really an E flat?
Yes.
It's not in the people's key then.
Look, sometimes it's a full tone down.
Oh, great.
Well, Aussie these days, it's 2 and...
Yeah.
Can we go down another octave?
Well, Sir Paul calls it the people's key.
Oh,
E.
right. Oh, right.
You know, but E flat, it's not rock and roll, is it? You know.
Sounds pretty.
But you're a drummer. You
I would know. I would know. So good to see you.
Have you heard it yet, John?
Yes, I have. Look out!
God.
Oh my God! Here he is. Stand by there. Stand by.
Hello, Captain. How are you?
Captain.
Officer.
How's it going, buddy?
Oh, yeah, you.
Nice
Well
to
done.
be here. I really am.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Thank you very much. This wouldn't be a fantastic.
Lovely to see you, my
And
dear
you,
friend.
mate.
Thank you.
All right.
No, thank you so very much for inviting me to do
Say
it.
hello properly.
Yeah, see, it's really good to see you again, my dear. Stop calling me.
Really.
Oh, fantastic.
Genuinely.
I'll just
Great.
That's it.
Yeah, the boys are here.
Have a drink
What are
then.
you doing?
Well, that hurt. I actually went to the centre there and did a little.
I was only kidding.
I know you were.
Oh, my daughter saw you the other night.
I love her band.
Oh, great.
They're fantastic. Remind me of good old country boys, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Stunning, really good night.
Sorry to spoil it, but the greatest thing they had on their day was their new van.
I thought it was the curtains that were in there.
Oh, no, they're planning the curtains for the van, but the new van is, they're very excited about it.
My first band, when we
Yeah.
got our first, we had a new transit van.
Yeah.
Long after that, yeah.
So did we.
Yeah.
Long wheelbase.
I wanted to go everywhere in it. I wanted to sleep in it. I wanted to, just be in it.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Instead we couldn't stretch to a transit. We had to have one 1500 weight.
Yeah, I was going to say
The
that.
precursor to the tranny, you know.
I'm sure we didn't pay for it. I'm sure somebody was like HP in it somehow.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sleep in that.
Those
It had
were
no
the
floor
days.
in it.
And there was another one where the windscreen came out.
Yeah,
And you
it was the same trip, I think. Oh, we had the front window of a Daimler come out when we hit an elk. But it was one of those moments, you know, in Spinal Tap, the driver. I mean, the elk died.
But I'm almost pleased to hear that, in a way. It was,
The driver and everyone else was unharmed, as well as this old Daimler that we bought, so you could get enough people in one vehicle. And so they had a whip round, gloves and goggles and all this sort of thing, and for whatever he could wrap round him. There was no window. So off they went, and they just pressed the button, and the interior window just came up, and the heater was on, and so they sat in luxury all the way there.
and the driver arrived.
And he arrived with icicles, and on his bicycles, and they had to lift him out. And he was in that position for a day. or so.
I'll be all right. Somebody get reverse for us, will you?
Somebody said the other day we were doing, in fact it wasn't the other day, it was when you were still with us, and we were doing a promo for a record on the banks of the Rhine in a hotel with a Cologne Cathedral across the other side. Were you still with us?
Yes, no, Hyatt, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And some guy said, so is it more enjoyable now than it used to be? And I said, take a look around here.
Yes.
I used to stay in a bed and breakfast underneath that cathedral,
yeah, that's right.
and I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, is it more enjoyable now?
Yeah.
Just ask yourself.
Yeah.
Get all that lovely heat.
It's our Steve.
Could have the heebie-jeebies on the act. Well, the snare shouldn't be a problem because it's Mr. Bond's. The ruby strand on the bottom, Stairway 11, wasn't it? Yeah, this very room. And it's the weirdest thing, we were doing one of the tracks on Metal Life and Death, and Jimmy walked through the door and I was doing my Bonham bit in the song. It just kind of reminded me of John, and he walked in, I thought, what do you mean? just at the right time.
You go by,
Turn that door there, you know. Yeah. But this room is fantastic. It's really loves drums.
Well, I'm looking forward to just getting that room sound on it because it's what the track needs. You know, once you've got Tony's guitar like that,
I mean it's so heavy. I mean it is. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it. Yeah, I'll let you boys get on with it. Yeah. That's working rather nicely. Is this your?
No, it's John Henry.
It's one of JH's. It's in rather fine condition, isn't it?
It'll do until I get my hands on it.
Oh, I do beg your pardon.
Well, Mr. Huge, as they call him.
Something fires up.
Alright, so go.
It is hitting you, son of a bitch.
I thought I'd come and have an ear roll to see if I can think of anything that I might be able to do.
Brilliant.
I spent many years trying to slot a Hammond organ around what Blackmore was doing. So I'll see if I can do the same with Tony. A lot of fun I had doing it, I have to say. It was always a challenge.
Here we go.
Ah.
No, the next one.
Oh yeah, it is. It's. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah.
Is it? Down, John.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you soon here.
Oh, John. Oh, thanks, mate. I'm struggling with it. You can tell I ain't played to a click in maybe 40 years, so it's going back to school for me.
Somebody take Nicko's tea out to me.
Take the click off then.
Oh, no, you can't do that. See?
Okay. You're doing very well, my dear.
Right, really good.
And I just have to learn it myself. So you're giving me a remarkable opportunity.
I think like he's going to, you're going to split a couple of, because there's good verses, there's bad choruses, good chorus, so we'll compile one.
Right,
and then see how we go, and if I need to tidy anything else.
Give away your secrets, mate. Don't give away your secrets then, listener. Shh. Listen. Pictures have ears.
Imagine if I could get one straight from start to finish without any mistakes. It would be lovely.
Yes. Oh, you've got it start to finish. Perfect.
Thank you.
Can I just turning the beast up? I want it to growl a bit more, if it will.
sit down at some point. There you go. It's growling. It's purring as well. Except on that middle. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
To do it in the track, but if I can't do that, it's just over it as an overdub. Because it might be quite a nice effect.
Lovely.
It's a. I remember once I was doing it and Don Airy came running over and said, "How do you do that? How do you do that?" Trade secret, dear boy.
Yeah.
It's a built-in wah-wah on a Hammond. But it's not. It's just 3 presets, you know. And it works very nicely. But
So did you teach him then?
Huh?
Did you tell him then?
I sold it to him. But it seems to be crackling up a bit. So.
Okay.
It's the headphones.
I'll check the levels.
Okay, I think that's about.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly got to compete with Tony's sound, so yeah.
Yeah, but it may. Only thing I'm really trying to do is to complement it rather than compete.
Yeah.
And done that with Richie. Yeah, complement, don't compete, and that's the way to a good rock and roll marriage.
And certainly the chorus where it just kicks in.
Well, I think I might just go up there. I might give it some high there, you know.
music's important to everybody, you know, it's a big part of everybody's life is music, whatever sort of music it is. And talking of the Armenian thing, it was just nice to see that these kids really wanted to play, and they were really into what they were doing, but they didn't have the instruments to play on, and they didn't have the premises to play in. So, but being able to supply or help to put the school together was great.
Do you think there's a correlation between music and hope?
And hope?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what did it mean to you when you first sort of, you know, got a hold of your instrument, when you first started playing and, you know, listening to Shadows and...
Yeah, well, for me, I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed finding something that I could enjoy, and being able to try and, you know, do something different to what I ever thought I would do. And I think music was a good way of getting your head into something, you know, instead of going violent and doing this and doing that. Music was a good way to go.
You know, you could be basically creating the next generation of musicians over in Armenia.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I think we've created enough generations of musicians.
I think so, yeah.
But it would be nice to let them live out the dream by being able to do it, you know, because the worst thing is if you really want to do it and you can't afford any instruments, or you haven't got anywhere to do it, and that'll be the nice thing for them. They'll have all the stuff they need and they'll have a place to do it.